What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today is going to be a fairly quick video just breaking down the new Kali Sticks melee weapon in Black Ops 6's multiplayer. I'll also have a brief mention of Warzone toward the end of the video, but the primary focus here is how these perform in multiplayer. And just like we always do with melee weapons, we're doing a full melee weapon comparison here to see exactly how it stacks up against the others. And diving right in, the Kali Sticks deal 90 damage per hit, meaning they are not a one-hit kill in core game modes. However, of course, in hardcore, it still will be a one-hit kill. And when it comes to our pre-hit delay, it's just standard for a melee weapon in this game at about 250 milliseconds, nothing out of the ordinary there at all. However, the time between two hits, so from the moment you get the first hit to the moment the second hit registers, this is by far the fastest in the game at 330 milliseconds. That's the big upside to using the Kali Sticks in multiplayer, is those really quick follow-up hits. But even with that in mind, and even though it does excel a lot with that time between two hits, at the end of the day, in core multiplayer, a two-hit kill melee weapon is still going to be significantly outclassed by a one-hit kill melee weapon, unless it has some big benefits in other areas, because our time to kill with this is going to be the pre-hit delay plus the time between two hits, so 580 milliseconds, versus a one-hit kill melee weapon only needs the pre-hit delay. So in the case of most of the one-hit kill melees, our practical time to kill is just 250 milliseconds. After that, though, let's have a look at our maximum lunge range, and unfortunately, this isn't very good. It's only 1.7 meters, which is among the worst in the melee category. These really don't have a whole lot of reach to them. However, our maximum hit angle, they do keep this consistent for all of the melee weapons at 30 degrees, meaning as long as you're within your lunge range, you can be aiming up to 30 degrees to the left or right of your target, and it will still lock on and lunge toward that target. So there we go. Everything we've covered there so far is just the standard attack. Now let's have a look at the charged attack, where you hit the aim down sight button to charge it up, and then when you release that, you lock yourself and the enemy into a short animation, and during that time, the enemy can't fight back against you, they can't fire any shots, so there's zero delay to that as soon as the animation activates. However, locking yourself in that animation also leaves you vulnerable to that enemy's teammates shooting you. Now with this, we have an extremely long charge time on this, so if you're not already pre-charging this and holding the button before you run into your enemy, it's going to take you a full 500 milliseconds from the moment you press the button to the moment you start locking them into the animation, which is an extremely long time. I mean, just thinking about our time to kill, if we use our standard attack, that's almost the entire amount of time it takes us to kill them with a two-hit kill with a standard attack with the Kali Sticks. But then on top of that, our time to kill, if you're already pre-charged, is exactly 1 second. So overall, if you're not pre-charged, it's going to take you 1.5 seconds to kill that enemy player, and that is extremely slow. It's by far the slowest in the melee category, and that essentially just rules out charged attacks entirely for the Kali Sticks. You almost never want to be doing this unless you're going for style points or something, because our lunge range is also nothing special here. It's 2 meters, and the same thing with our max hit angle. It's exactly the same as all of the charged attacks for the other melee weapons at 55 degrees. So I really can't see any good argument for ever using the charged attack on the Kali Sticks. Now finally, on the multiplayer side of things, of course, I did want to test movement speeds, and not surprisingly, it's exactly the same as the movement speeds for all of the melee weapons in the game. Treyarch has stated in the past that they want to keep things consistent in this area, so that you're not just choosing your melee weapon based on movement speeds alone. And while I totally see why they're doing that, I do think it can make it a lot more difficult to differentiate these melee weapons and make them truly interesting and unique and have certain power in some areas in exchange for power in other areas. Because as we saw from the stats on this, for instance, the values that do change are pretty straightforward, and as a result, there's pretty much always just going to be a clear winner out of the one-hit kill melees and the two-hit kill melees. So like I've said before, I do wish they would make things a little more interesting with the melee weapons, because as it is right now, when they add a new melee weapon, it doesn't really seem to be adding much to the game, since it's way too similar to the ones that are already in the game, and you basically just see some slight differences in animation timings, and that's it. In either case, I did mention I did some basic testing in Warzone, primarily just to see if, at least on the Warzone side of things, the Kali Sticks would have faster movement speeds than the other melee weapons in the game. Because if you guys remember back to the original Kali Sticks, that was the big upside with those. They had the fastest movement speed in the melee category, at least at the time when they were added. And therefore, there was a tendency to see a lot of people using the Kali Sticks just to get from point A to point B as fast as possible in the original Warzone. And unfortunately, it looks like they're following the same trend, at least with the Black Ops 6 melee weapons. I did some quick spot tests with a few of the Black Ops 6 melee weapons and compared them to the Kali Sticks, and they're all exactly the same when it comes to movement speed, so there's no benefit there. However, some of the melee weapons from previous games do have slightly faster movement speeds, and as far as I could tell, the Gladiator from Modern Warfare 3, that melee weapon does give you the fastest movement speed if you are looking for that in Warzone out of your melee weapon. And so the Kali Sticks are not what they used to be in Warzone. And there we go. That's going to wrap it up today's quick breakdown of the Kali sticks. Overall, like I said, in multiplayer, I do think it is the best 2-hit kill melee weapon, but at the end of the day, I don't really see many good reasons to use a 2-hit kill melee weapon in core game modes when 1-hit kill melee weapons are just straight up better. Now, of course, those are just my thoughts, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about the Kali sticks in those comments down below. And I'm also curious to know if this has changed what your favorite melee weapon is in the game. What is your current favorite melee weapon to use in Black Ops 6's multiplayer? If you enjoyed this one, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.